What's up, JR? It's Alexander. So, question, this is for everybody, but I wanted to answer this since it was a good question. So, if you're training and you're training in the AM, and JR's specific question was he's got 40 minutes to work out in the morning. So, 40 minutes, so he's time constrained. He's only got a limited amount of time, and his routine is a little bit stale. So, what should he do in the morning? And yes, we're going to drive and talk at the same time right now. All right, so training in the morning. The big thing to keep in mind with the morning, guys, is that when you wake up, and I talked about this on Mark Baxter's podcast, which I would advise you all to listen to it. I talked about this on the podcast. When you train in the morning, your body is not in a fully prepared state for heavy exertion. Specifically, your tissues are somewhat waterlogged, so to speak. So in regards to your spine, so this is very, it's gonna sound like bro science, but it's not. But when you wake up in the morning, you've been lying down, you've been obviously in like a prone supine position. What happens to your spine is it becomes somewhat lax. And because of that, it can be very difficult to train in the morning because your spinal column and the disc are literally overhydrated in a way, and it makes for very uncomfortable lifting. You won't feel right. At the same time, your joints are not fully lubricated, especially if you're older. So you end up having this sort of double whammy effect of your back feeling very sticky, and then your joints feeling very dry. And it just makes for an uncomfortable experience. Now that said, obviously you can get used to training in the morning. I'm not telling you not to train in the morning. Lots of guys work out in the morning. But it takes time to get used to. And you have to keep these things in mind that you're gonna need to warm up. You're gonna need to practice, good training habits that way. You're not gonna be able to rush into the gym and probably go right into the workout, especially if it's something like heavy squats and deadlifts. Now that said, if you've got 40 minutes in the morning and you want to lift, what should you do? This depends on your routine. If you have 40 minutes or less, I'm very, very fond of doing sort of I guess you call them like double-pronged or trident routines. 2 or 3 movements, even 1 movement, and you just do it for a ton of sets, and you get in, you get out, and you're done. That's it. Don't make things complicated for yourself. You can get a very good shoulder workout by doing shoulder presses and some bent over flies, and that takes 30 minutes, and you do 5 sets each, done, and you leave. So, like everything else, there's nuances to all this stuff, but the less time you have, the more simple you need to make it. You can get an effective workout in 40 minutes. Just be advised that you shouldn't be trying to follow a high volume routine, or you shouldn't be trying to follow a program, let's say like a conjugate system, or something that has very complicated periodization methods where you can't really adhere to the parameters the training program has set up. So if you got 40 minutes in the morning to train, 1 or 2 lifts, preferably not heavy, more moderate rep range, let's just say 6 to 15, somewhere in there, and just hammer those things for a bunch of sets, and you're good. Other things you could do in the morning, you oftentimes can train power sometimes in the morning, so you could do power movements, you could do something that's explosive, 60% over 1 rep max, lots of sets. You could do dynamic work. If you're trying to train like sort of like a pseudo power lifter, you could do dynamic effort work maybe even in the morning. But the real heavy stuff, sets of 5, sets of 3, be careful with it. It's probably not going to happen. It'll take time to build up to doing that. But if you have nothing else and 40 minutes in the morning is your only time to train, and that's it, do what you got to do. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices and you have to get comfortable being comfortable. Any questions, people? I think I answered that pretty thoroughly, so any questions? I'll wait. Okay, so we got people hopping on the Periscope there watching me drive the car. Topic has been talked about. Anyone that has questions, ask your questions. Podcast with Baxter was great. You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it, man. The feed froze. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I can never wake up in the morning. Yeah, it takes getting used to. Obviously, some people are morning people, truly, where some guys can wake up at 4:30 and they're ready to go. I mean, I know you guys have mentioned Jocko before. Obviously, the man's beast. He wakes up first thing in the morning, gets his training in. You know, if you can do that, by all means, do it. You know, part of this comes down to lifestyle and personal preference. Did you miss a Periscope? Watch it from the beginning. Topic was already talked about. Any questions, guys? Yes.